At the beginning of the movie, we see a family celebrating their son Ben's birthday in the Caribbean Sea. Everything looks perfectly normal at first. Ben's mother, Julian, jumps into the water for a swim, while Ben and his father, Tom, stay busy fishing. Suddenly, Julian feels that something huge is circling around her. When she stops and looks, the sea appears calm, but in the next moment, something suddenly drags her underwater. At the same time, a warning signal flashes on the yacht's instruments, but Ben and Tom don't notice it as they are focused on fishing. Julian cries out for help again and again, but no one pays attention. Luckily, after a while, Tom notices that Julian is drifting away from the yacht. He immediately dives in to save her, while Ben starts the engine and brings the yacht closer. Together with Cassie, Julian's daughter, they pull her back onto the yacht. Tom gets angry at Cassie for not keeping an eye on her mother and reminds her that whenever someone goes swimming, the other must keep watch. Cassie apologizes, and later that night, the family gathers happily to celebrate Ben's birthday. During the party, Cassie receives a call from her boyfriend and sees on the news that a storm is approaching. Worried, she informs her parents, and they all decide to check the safety barriers. To their horror, they discover whales and sharks circling around their yacht, confirming the storm's approach. Suddenly, the yacht shudders violently. Tom dives underwater and discovers a severe dent caused by the sharks. When he comes back up, Julian sees he's badly injured. She stitches his wounds, while Tom delivers grim news: the yacht can't move anymore, and their radio has no signal. He checks their supplies, they only have food and water for 4 days. Still, he reassures them that since they're in a shipping route, another vessel may spot them. Just then, a deafening noise shakes the ocean. They rush out and see a massive meteor falling into the sea, heading directly toward them. Tom tries to start the engine, but the yacht's engine fails. Another meteor appears in the distance, also descending toward them. With no escape, the family hides in the lower deck, wearing life jackets. A thunderous impact knocks them unconscious. When they awaken, they're shocked to find themselves alive, with only minor injuries. Even stranger, despite a hole in the yacht, no water has entered. Tom and Ben step outside and discover that their yacht has drifted into a rocky terrain. Where once there was water, now only mountains remain. Tom checks his compass and realizes something horrifying: Earth's poles have flipped. The North Pole has swapped with the South, deserts have turned into oceans, and oceans into deserts. This revelation stuns everyone. Tom explains that humanity may not have survived this cataclysm. Cassie collapses in shock, locking herself in the cabin. Julian begins gathering leftover food, while Ben releases his birthday balloons, hoping someone will see them and come to help. Tom tries the radio again, not expecting a reply, but surprisingly, he receives one. A submarine captain answers. He, too, was affected by the pole shift. He explains that Earth's poles will correct themselves in about a week, but when the seas return, the waves will be unimaginably destructive. His advice: find high ground immediately. Tom begs the captain to take his children aboard the submarine. At first, the captain refuses, saying there's only room for one person. But after Tom's pleas, he agrees to make space for the 2 children. Tom estimates they can reach the submarine's location in 2 days, just before the ocean returns. The next morning, as they prepare to leave, Tom sees a strange man with a dog. The man looks wounded, so Tom offers him water. Suddenly, the stranger attacks Tom, stabbing him fatally. Julian runs toward them, but she cannot save her husband. Devastated, she flees to the yacht to protect her children. She hides Ben and Cassie in the cabin, gives Cassie a flare gun, and tells her to use it only in emergencies. The killer soon reaches the cabin. Julian hides in the washroom, stitching her wounds. The killer, starving, eats whatever he finds. Later, when he searches for Julian, he notices she has escaped. Unfortunately, his dog spots her and gives away her hiding place. Julian kills the dog and sneaks back into the yacht, but eventually, the killer captures her. He beats her savagely and tries to strangle her. Cassie, watching in terror, finally fires the flare gun. The shot barely wounds the killer but sets the yacht on fire. Julian seizes the chance, grabs her children, and escapes, but the killer follows them outside. They break down in tears upon seeing Tom's dead body. Ben blames himself, thinking his balloons gave away their location to the stranger. Meanwhile, the killer, badly burned, emerges alive from the flames. Realizing they can't stay, Julian takes the children and flees. Exhausted, they stop behind a rocky hill, but the killer is still following them. They continue running until they reach a poisonous water source. Ben, dehydrated, starts collapsing. Julian gives him the last of their water, but it isn't enough. They stumble upon a crashed plane and use it as shelter. That night, Julian looks at a family photo taken before Tom's death, and they all remember him with grief. Restless, Julian steps outside and sees the killer still trailing them. She pretends to sleep, and when he approaches, she launches a desperate attack, stabbing him repeatedly until he finally dies. The next morning, the family breathes a sigh of relief, but they know the sea itself is more dangerous than the killer ever was. They continue their journey toward the submarine. Along the way, Ben drinks toxic water from a pond and becomes sick. Julian and Cassie build a makeshift shelter to let him rest. That night, thousands of crabs swarm toward them, forcing them to flee. They spot a massive cargo ship filled with containers, but when they try to climb aboard, survivors inside slam the doors shut. Crabs overwhelm the area, breaking into the containers and attacking everyone. Julian is bitten but manages to escape with her children. Later, she wakes up, relieved to find Ben and Cassie safe. They had gone out to search for food and weapons. Julian radios the captain again. He reveals he's mortally wounded and can no longer help them, but he fires a flare into the sky to guide their way. They follow it and eventually spot the submarine. The final stretch is perilous, as they cross toxic terrain. Cassie accuses her mother of failing to protect them, but Julian scolds her and insists they must push forward. A landslide traps Julian under a rock, and she forces Cassie to promise she'll protect Ben. Reluctantly, Cassie takes her brother and reaches the submarine. The captain, gravely injured, opens the hatch and tells them only 3 can fit inside. Cassie rushes back for her mother, who is fighting off crabs with her last bullets. Out of ammo, she nearly dies, but Cassie saves her. Together, they drag Julian back, board the submarine, and strap themselves in just as a colossal tidal wave strikes. They all lose consciousness. When Julian awakens, the submarine is no longer underwater but stranded in a ruined city. The massive wave had carried them into the remains of civilization, empty, desolate, and seemingly devoid of human life. Their story ends there, in a broken world, uncertain of what future awaits them.